1, 2. Check 1, 2. 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Podium test 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Yep, checking levels 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. 1, 2. Craig, you want to check yours? That's going back.
Check 1, 2. Check, check, check.
Yep, I can hear you. 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Checking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brett Ammon, ladies and gentlemen, Brett Ammon is in the house. 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Yes, sir. 1, 2. Yes, sir. 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Hey. Can we get a... Hey, Brett, you want to ask me a question?
Say that again?
How's your day going, Ed?
Oh, it's just fantastic. How's yours?
It's a beautiful day in
Thanks for
Rochester.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So there was the...
Why would he let it
Actually,
go
ask another one.
negotiation?
You can ask me the same question?
What day did you get to Rochester?
I don't remember.
Negotiate, or
It's probably a Wednesday.
put together a deal. And
1,
then kill
2.
it over
Hey, yes,
that
sir.
when that
1,
was
2.
Already known.
1, 2.
Nuts to me.
1, 2. Actually, just keep talking on that question. Just talk.
1, 2, Ed, check. 1, 2.
Well, that's
1, 2 from Oak Hill
have a
Country
great
Club.
reputation with some companies on that kind of thing. It's just
Nope, all good.
wild.
Don't know yet.
And I mean, I can't even believe they started competition through Adam. I realize they have engines, a lot of other things, but Jack, and they're local. Take that.
1, 2. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Google and Microsoft, because they don't want to. They don't want to write.
I'll take it that they're okay. CBS check 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2.
Yeah.
Yep, 1, 2. CBS check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I see we have a question on 22.
Check, testing,
Take a
1,
question
2.
on 22.
Question from 22. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Check
Hey, Greg,
1, 2,
if you can
4.
take up the questions back to me in the foldback.
Check.
Yeah.
More questions
These
in the
hot?
foldback.
You think these are just hot?
No reason to get excited. This is just a test. This is a test.
Keep going.
Check
Keep
1,
going, Greg.
2, 3, 4.
Sibling.
Mary had a little lamb. This
I really
is a
don't.
test
Waiting to
of the question microphone system. Check.
Pretty good.
1, 2.
That's pretty good. 1, 2.
3, 4.
I'm getting a note says 2 more minutes. Hey, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
2 more
10.
minutes of talking or 2 more minutes of
Says
waiting?
2 more minutes of check time.
Check.
For CBS.
1, 2.
An LPGA player?
1, 2.
Testing.
1, 2. 1,
Check.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Testing. 1, 2. I thought the potato salad was excellent. Check. 1, 2. Apple pie was good too. Check. 1, 2. Waiting for a cue that the test is completed.
Oh, it's
Check.
going to be thick. Yeah.
1,
Well, they're not going to cut
2,
it
3,
after Thursday.
4.
Oh. Now I'm on, right? Yeah, they're not going to cut it after Thursday morning, I think.
Beautiful
Keep going.
weather here at Oak Hill Country Club. Question mic number 22. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Check. 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2. Am I at your mic? Oh. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wonder how far I'm not.
Testing. 1, 2. Microphone check. Q&A check. Testing. Keep going.
Jeff, if you want to do a last minute record check.
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Talking to the
Last
people
minute
You're good?
record
who make that
check.
decision. Absolutely.
He's been out there for 15 minutes. JT.
Check. Check.
He
1,
got over
2.
here at 2:15, and they're holding him back till 2:30.
Welcome to Oak Hill Country Club.
Sitting back there talking to Julius.
Check.
I think his wife's back there too.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly.
Q&A check.
Oh, really?
Hello, hello. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing.
We'll give him-
1, 2,
We'll give
3,
him 30 more seconds.
4.
just going to start texting.
30 more seconds.
What's that, what?
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic number 22. Hello, hello. Check.
I got to roll.
1, 2.
We're starting. Just let me know.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 105th PGA Championship. Defending and two-time PGA champion Justin Thomas is with us, and he is playing in his 8th PGA Championship this week. Welcome to Oak Hill, Justin, and have you had a chance to experience the golf course yet?
Yes, I just played 18 holes. I came out yesterday just with wedges and putter and walked all 18 holes and just hit chips and putts around the greens, but actually played the golf course today in its entirety, and it's everything that I'd heard about. It's a tough test.
That's great. All right, guys, we'll open it up for questions.
Hey, Justin. DJ Backspin, WLGZ HD2, the B1055, Rochester, New York. I want to ask you, what music do you listen to get you inspired and in the mood to play a major?
I'm a big hip hop guy. I mean, I like to listen to a lot of rap, so I love music, and I think what's unique about it is you can kind of listen to different genres to get you in different moods. I mean, stuff that I'm going to listen to maybe get in a zone or while I'm working out isn't necessarily the same thing I'm going to listen to drinking beer on a boat out on the lake or something. So it's very unique in that sense. It would definitely be some kind of hip hop rap to, kind of make me almost feel like I have blinders on and no one else is there.
Thank you.
Hey, Justin, Over here. I know you said recently that you feel you've been playing your worst rounds possible. I think was one of your quotes. You're not getting the best out of it. Why do you think this is? Where do you think the problems have arose in the last whatever it's been, however you think you've been playing like this?
Well, I felt like I showed a lot of really good signs in Charlotte. I think Saturday was a great example. It was a round where I didn't really have very much. I felt like I left a couple shots out there putting wise and just wasn't sharp. I was hitting a lot of very poor wedges and irons and I birdied 2 of the last 4 holes and salvaged an under par round on a tough golf course. And Bones and I kind of said on 18 green, we're like, this is the stuff that we haven't been doing this year. I felt like that 70 that I shot that day are the rounds that I've been shooting 73 and 74, which then gave me an opportunity to, play myself into contention with 9 holes left, whereas I wouldn't have been that way beforehand. So I feel like it was way more so beforehand. It just wasn't scoring properly. It wasn't making that putt to keep or get some momentum, or wasn't hitting, wedges in there close, making those 2, 3, 4 birdies in a row. But like I said, I felt like in Charlotte, I really, turned a little bit of a corner of seeing more of scoring better.
We'll go to Jeff on 7.
As you look at last year's victory, it's pretty well documented you weren't real happy Saturday night. What was the biggest key in getting things turned around for you?
I think the biggest thing for me was honestly just getting it out of my system Saturday before I left the golf course, and I think that was something Bones did a great job with. It wasn't, y'all know it was cold that Saturday, like it was late in the day. It was not. I wasn't necessarily going to go have like an unbelievable practice session just with the conditions and weather and everything, but it was more just like I couldn't leave the property or the golf course in that frame of mind. It just wasn't, it's not healthy. And whether it was I'm trying to win the golf tournament or shoot a couple under and finish 3rd or 4th, whatever it is, it's just I needed to be leaving on a lot more positive note and almost just go down there and just vent and just kind of get it out of me. And that's just kind of when Bones told me, we're doing a lot of great things, playing some really, really good golf, and you're still a great player. So let's not let one round, change that. And yeah, it worked out well.
Next, we'll go 16, followed by Mike 11.
Justin, regarding the golf course, there's a lot of really, really tight turf around some of the greens. Mm-hmm. Do you know yet what you'll be doing, putting, chipping? Is that something you might even lead to an adjustment in the bag?
I won't change anything that I would normally use. I generally travel with 2 different 60 degrees, one T grind, one K grind, and it just is basically based on the turf, and I feel like a T is it's just better to chip off of, which is what I use 85% of the time anyway, but a lot of it is very situational around the greens. It's kind of unique because a lot of the runoffs behind the greens and side of the greens, they don't really run off to the fairway. They run off to the rough, and they run off to the first cut unless you're flying it on the flat areas, which you're hopefully wouldn't be doing in those situations. So, it's one of those weeks where I think you'll be out watching people hitting chips and shots around the greens, and they're going to be maybe hitting shots from fairways around the greens when the balls aren't really going to stay there. And I think it's just one of those things you adjust. All of us are gamers enough to where we assess the lie, and then from there the pin, the wind, and go from there. But you definitely have an option of a wide variety of shots around the greens.
Justin, you said it was everything you had heard. So what had you heard about Oak Hill? And since it's been 10 years since the tournament's been here with so many younger guys on the tour, how does that impact an event of a course that a lot of you had never played before?
Yeah, it's very similar to Southern Hills last year. Everyone's like, oh, I haven't played since the redo. And I'm like, well, I've never played, period. So it's kind of nice for me in that sense. I'm sure some of the holes are similar for the guys that have played it, but people that are trying to learn the redesign. I'm trying to learn the golf course, so I think a lot of people are in a very similar circumstance. But just what I'd heard about the course is that it's a tough golf course. It's Northeast. It's got I love the way the courses look up here. Just how the definition of the fairway to the rough and the cuttings of the bunkers, and I love the square, the kind of sharp edges on the greens. This place reminds me a little bit of a Winged Foot, just in terms of the green not the severity of the greens are not like Winged Foot, nothing is, but just the kind of the designs of them and some of the pin locations and how the fairways kind of canter and against the slopes or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's a really good golf course.
And the rough itself, it looks like it's going to thicken up even more.
Yeah, it's tough. It's the thickest blades of grass. It's almost like what's it like, the St. Augustine or something? It's very, very thick. I felt like I have a lot of lies, chipping and putting that I felt like chipping and hitting irons that I had a pretty good idea how it was going to come out, and I didn't. So I think that's going to be something that a lot of people will have to guess correctly or adjust to as the week goes on.
Mike 2.
Trees seem to engender strong opinions in people. How do you feel about just kind of old school tree line golf courses? What impact do you think they'll have this week? And then especially recoveries with the thick rough.
I like it. I mean, I love old school golf courses. I think they can create a lot of definition to holes. It just seems like nowadays you can't really please anybody. You know, it's like, oh, if it's tree lined, oh, they can't get away from the old school, but then take the trees away. Oh, it's a bomber's paradise. You hit it wherever you want. It's too, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to, I guess, please everybody in that aspect, but it is very tough. I mean, Max today I played with Max, that par 5 on the front, I think number 4. You know, he had just barely pulled a drive. Wasn't a bad drive by any means, just through the fairway. And on a par 5, he'd just be hitting a 5 or 6 iron down there, but he had those trees on the left in his way, so then he's got to navigate those, and that's just a part of it. You know, there's going to be holes you need to play on one side or the other, and just kind of be smart when you get in trouble and not, you know, turn bogeys or pars into doubles and triples.
Mike 4.
Justin, I've talked to a couple of pros who wonder how a course this far northeast would play this early in the year. Grasses aren't quite mature, and maybe as it might be in other places. Is that something that you notice, and is there a way that you can play it or react to it and take advantage of that at all?
I don't know about necessarily taking advantage of it. It's just a thing that we're all trying to get used to, and I mean, it's like any week, you know, we're going to, very rarely do you play back-to-back courses that are almost identical in terms of grasses and condition and whatnot. So we're all getting here, whether it be Sunday, today, tomorrow, and trying to get our feels of the greens, of the chipping, the whatever. And I lost my train of thought, sorry. But it's just...
What is your reaction, you know, in terms of playing a course like that might be unusual in terms of what you would normally see throughout a full season?
I mean, it's just no different. It's hard to explain. It's just, you know, we play different. Like I said, we change week to week. I mean, you can definitely tell. You know, it's probably 3 or 4 weeks away from being like really, really good. I mean, the course is great. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's Rochester, New York in May. Like I think it snowed like 3 weeks ago. So it's just the risk that comes with it. But and you'll have some iffy areas around the greens, and you know, some of the greens are you know, maybe different than others if they're shaded or whatnot. But I mean, the course is really good, that's for sure.
By the way, it did not snow 3 weeks ago, and anybody who lives here will vehemently fight you if anybody says otherwise.
Really?
Did not, no.
Okay.
We've had a great winter.
It was 4 weeks
Shush,
ago.
shush.
4. Oh, sorry.
All right, next let's go Mike 8, followed by 18.
Hey, Justin. By nature, you're a very fiery guy, even inside and outside. I'm just kind of curious how you manage that with as your frustration level was building when the results weren't coming, and how much of a challenge has that been in the last number of months when you haven't seen the results?
It's very frustrating. It's especially. It's easy. It's a lot easier, like anything in golf. It's easier said than done in terms of thinking big picture, thinking process, thinking, you know, I'm going to be better off for this and whatnot. But at the end of the day, after a couple months or 6 months, whatever it is, where you're not performing as well as you feel like you should, and not, you know, having the finishes you feel like you should, or not winning tournaments that you feel like you should, then it's pretty easy to get pissed off and understand what's going wrong. But like anything, and like, I mean, I've preached this to myself. I'm sure I've said it to y'all, or I've said it to whether it be, excuse me, younger guys that ask, and I mean, how you learn is failure and negatives, and I feel like I've had a great opportunity for a lot of learning the past 6 months, a couple months in this year, and I feel like I said it in Charlotte a little bit, starting to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel, and just nobody I feel like is in a better place than call it Max Homa out here. There's not very many top player. There's no other top player in the world that's gone through what he's gone through in terms of having a tour card, losing your tour card, having to earn it back, and then becoming one of the top players in the world. So I've talked to him about it before, because he's like nobody out here really knows how bad it can be. It's like, I feel like everything's so bad and I'm ranked whatever in the world. He's like, dude, I had to birdie my last 5 holes at Pumpkin Ridge to get in the Korn Ferry playoffs. So it's all relative, and it's just about making the most out of whatever situation you're in.
If I could just follow quick on that, how much of a help, and I know you've been with him for a little while now, but how much of a help has Bones been with that for you? Because he's got such an even keel manner about him.
Yeah, he's very positive. He's very encouraging. He's someone that, I especially now, he's gotten to know me well enough. He can tell when I'm upset, or he can tell when I'm down on myself, to kind of almost, kind of put your arm on your back kind of thing and say, everything's okay, you're playing better than this, or whatnot. And it's hard to have. And I'm very, very lucky to have him by my side, because he definitely makes things a lot easier and better for me.
Justin, I know you talked in Charlotte about just making the transition to aim point. Are you still using it, and does it become more familiar as you go down the road?
Yeah, I am still using it, and I've come to find, just like anything in your golf game, it feels great some days and it feels bad others. And, I played Keegan's back home in Jupiter, and we played, and he just said, he had a week in Charlotte where he couldn't feel it very well. And I'm sure it's, just like your golf swing. You're going to have days where you can feel the slope like this, and it's just bang, go. You're making everything, and you're going to have weeks where it's not great. But just, again, like anything in your golf game, you got to practice it. So I felt like I had a good week practicing it and trying to get a little bit more accustomed to it, and a little bit more, fluid, and just making it easier routine-wise, I guess.
All right, let's go to 13, followed by 15.
Justin, going back to your previous comments about results and maybe not what you want them to be, how do you define success and failure in this game, especially since it's not just one team versus the other? You're 1 of 56, and are those sentiments you have to kind of recalibrate throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in literal terms, it's did you win the tournament or not? It's unfortunate how it happens that way, and it's in reality that's not how you should or how all of us base success and failure. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to win the golf tournament, and whether it's we backdoor to third place, or we were tied with 1 hole left and made a bogey and finished third, we might be pleased somewhere in here with a third, but there's somewhere down there that's upset we didn't win. And I just think it's just kind of understanding where you're at that time, or in the golf tournament, or in your game. And there's going to be weeks where 7th place finish is really good for what I have that week. But then there's going to be some weeks where, maybe if I have a 1-shot lead and on number 5 on Sunday and I finish 7th, like those 7ths are very different. So it's just understanding, I think, the situation, circumstances of that given day or week, and basing it off that, if you will.
Justin, where does your grit to hang in there last year Sunday come from? Where does the guts to go for the green in the playoff off the on a par 4? Where does that come from? How did you develop that?
I think a lot of it was probably, how I was raised in terms of the grit and just in hard work, just the inner belief, and just to kind of never quit, never give up. There were many times in junior golf where, like a lot of 8-10-year-olds, you start sulking and pouting and kind of walking. You can even see players out here where it's, you can tell when they've almost given up kind of thing. And that was just something that my parents instilled in me. Like, you're not one of those kids. You're not going to give up. You're not going to quit. Make the best out of whatever you have. There's going to be days, kind of like I was saying, where 70 might be the best that I have that day, but it's sure better than 71. Or 75 might be the best I have that day, but it's better than 76. And that's just kind of how I've always been taught. In terms of the 17 or whatever last year, I would just say that comes just with confidence and trust in myself, honestly. I feel like getting in those situations is fun because that's why I've practiced, to where when I get out there, I don't think about anything but just executing that shot and in that specific time. And I have enough belief and faith and trust in myself that I'm going to be able to pull it off, kind of thing.
Can you give an example of how you enjoyed having custody of the Wanamaker Trophy for the past year?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. I went straight to Colonial the next week and shared a house with kids, and it just sat on the dining room table the entire week. Well, I shouldn't say entire week because I missed the cut, so for 5 days. But then I wanted to go see my buddies at home in Louisville, so I took it home with me to Louisville, and one of my buddies had a little house party, and we filled it up with some beer and drank it. So it's little stuff like that that's fun. But unfortunately, we've been going through a move, and it hasn't been out and displayed. So hopefully we'll have one to bring home to display with them.
Mike 14.
A couple of them, JT. There's not another trophy you have to bring back, is there? Of the ones you've won? Just the...
I got both.
Well, they're replicas, though, right?
Probably, yeah.
You don't know this?
I don't care, honestly. Okay. I got them both. That's all I know.
I wanted to follow up on the way you measure success and how you go about that. Do you feel like you're in a slump?
Right now, no. A couple weeks ago or a month ago, probably, yeah.
Have you shown up at a tournament in the last year wondering whether you could win or thinking you couldn't?
Yeah.
What's that like?
It sucks.
Not good, yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, I mean, how I described it for a couple months is I've never felt so far and so close at the same time. So that's, it's a very hard thing to explain, and it's also a very hard way to try to compete and win a golf tournament. But, that's how you get out of it, just playing your way out of it and hitting those shots when you want to and making those putts when you need to, and then your confidence builds back up, and next thing you know, you don't even remember what you were thinking in those times.
Great. We got time for a couple more. Let's go Mike 10, followed by Mike 2.
So obviously last year was a heartbreak for Beto, the way that all played out at the end. Since, I don't know, immediately after or maybe a few weeks later, did you have a conversation at all with him about, man, tough break, sorry, that type of thing, or no? You just
No, I didn't. I don't really know him too well, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Justin, can I just ask you two quick ones? One, can what happened at the PGA Championship last year translate to this year? And second, for the casual golf fan who might just watch the majors, what is the best way for a layman to understand the aim point?
Sorry, you said the first question. You said how can I translate?
Can last year translate to this year?
Not really. I mean, it's so long ago in terms of your golf game that the feelings can translate and the memories can translate. But I mean, a lot of things in swings and putts and chips have happened since then. So that part doesn't really. That part is hard to relate. In terms of explaining aim point, I just would. That's tough. I would say that it's trying to get like in it. Damn, this is hard. It's weird because it's a complex system that makes reading greens very simple. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but it's like when you're learning it, it sounds like, how am I going to be able to do this? I don't understand it. But then once you get it, anybody who does aim point can tell you when you have a planar putt, it doesn't matter if it's 5 feet, 15, or 40. Like if it's planar and you know the slope, you're thinking, I'm making this kind of thing because you have the read exactly. And everybody kind of perfects their own version of it. But it's just a way to try to simplify reading greens for me is how how I've done. I feel like I didn't answer your question at all. I'm sorry about that.
Justin, in hindsight, being that you're 10 years in the game, I consider you a vet now. Looking back, what would JT 2023, what advice would he give JT 2013?
That everything's not as big of a deal as you think it is. I think it's everything always seems like the end of the world, or you're playing bad. That round was so important. You know, you had to play well there, and it's just I feel like if I would have learned things a little bit sooner in terms of my bad rounds, my bad weeks, I feel like I would have been better off earlier. But it's just hard when you're 20, 21, 22 years old to not think that playing bad on a Sunday isn't the end of the world when it's not the end of the world. So that's definitely what I would say.
Great. Thanks for your time today, Justin.
Thanks.